Hello, this is Soundout here, and welcome back to Spider-Man Week. For today, we actually take a look at a Spider-Man on day 3 of the Marvel Legends Infinite Series Amazing Spider-Man 2, The Amazing Spider-Man. So without further ado, let's take a look at the first Spider-Man in the Spider-Man themed wave. Alright, so here we have Spider-Man as based in and appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, the movie has not been released at the time of this filming, but they did go for a new costume design of the character that is much more resembling the comic style and much better than the one from The Amazing Spider-Man, which I honestly did not like at all. And in fact, this could be easily replaced for a comic book Spider-Man. And in fact, this figure may be one of the best Spider-Man action figures made in this scale. And we'll take a look at that in a minute. But the packaging is very similar to Marvel's Electro, which I reviewed yesterday. It just says The Amazing Spider-Man has new contents, but overall is very similar. Now, Spider-Man needs no introduction if you're watching this series of videos, because you already know who Spider-Man is if you're watching a review of action figures for Spider-Man. Plus, he's one of the more prominent characters in the superhero film business. So, there's that. The Amazing Spider-Man. No matter what evil rises, the Amazing Spider-Man will summon the courage to defeat it, for with great power comes great responsibility. That line of dialogue even got in on the packaging for the figure. That being said, he is the third on the wave, so we're at the halfway point of the basic figures, and overall, looks pretty cool. So, without further ado, let's take a look at the Amazing Spider-Man. Alright, so here we have the Amazing Spider-Man. Now, I'm really glad in this wave of figures, that's the only Spider-Man themed wave in a while of Marvel Legends, that we did get a standard looking Spider-Man based on the movie too, which is an added bonus for marketability. Now, this is the most common figure of the wave that I've seen the most. I've seen him 100 different places, 100 different times. And that's really good because this is probably the most popular figure, will be the most popular figure once the movie comes out. I think this one's going to get more popular. But definitely, it is nice. He has packed the most per cases as far as I know. And he's a cool figure. I really do like this Spider-Man. It's probably my favorite 6-inch Spider-Man in a classic costume. And there's a lot of good things that he does. Now, that being said, this whole wave could have been 6 different Spider-Man because there's enough costumes around. But I'm glad that they did stick to just 2, which is nice. So, taking a look at the Amazing Spider-Man, you can see he's in his standard red and blue costume with the black spider logo. That is based on the movie logo, so there is that. But you can see he's got the red on the back as well. Overall, the head sculpt is fantastic. It replicates his mask from the movie, what we've seen in trailers and such, and the mask from the comics to that extent. There's very few differences between the comic costume and the movie one, which I like a lot. I love the black lines on here. I got sick of the silver ones during the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. I also thought the silver was cool the first time I saw it, but by the time the third movie rolled around, I was like, yeah, you want to get a new costume? And you got that black costume, and then emo Peter Parker happened, and I don't like Spider-Man 3. Anyways, that being said, this figure's really cool, but there is a couple drawbacks. And I've seen this on 2 of the figures in this wave has had this issue, and it's mold flash. First off, you can see that the blue plastic, when it was cut from the mold, left a little light blue plastic there. And on the inside of his leg joint here, there is just excess plastic that won't come out. It is pretty stuck in there. This happened on, like I said, a later figure, which we'll get to. But yeah, this stuff right here really bugs me. That's sloppy. And I expect everything I buy from Mattel to have a QC issue, but so far, Electro and Toxin had no QC issues, and Spider-Man does. But it does not detract from this figure at all, because this figure is super articulated. I mean super articulated. Ball jointed neck, plus the additional neck pivot, so you can get good poses there. 360 shoulder movement and outward shoulder movement with an inward and outward shoulder articulation that has a piece of plastic so that it doesn't wreck the design when you pull it out like that. And it works so much better than the Super Sentai Figuart ones. This is so good. It's so good. That's just all I can say. Anyways, you got a bicep swivel, double jointed elbow. You got a wrist swivel here with a pivot on his fists. You got the ab crunch that goes forward and clicks back. And they painted the spider lines so the design doesn't get wrecked on both sides. That is awesome. Thank you, Hasbro. Waist swivel, outward leg movement, forward, not really back leg movement. Thigh swivel, double jointed knee. Boot articulation, forward foot movement, backward foot movement. Thing, ankle tilt, that's what it's called. Oh man, this figure is so cool because of all the articulation he has. You can have him doing punching poses, where he punches villains like Electro or Toxin, or whatever you want. You can also have him doing funny poses, where he's hitting himself. You have all kinds of options with all the articulation this guy has. If you have a flight stand, like a Tamashii stage, you can even do more poses. But yeah, the articulation on this figure is fantastic, and the only issue with it is it's a little tight in some places. It's not as smooth. But that being said, this is the most articulated Spider-Man action figure I own. And he can do that without falling over. Bravo, Spider-Man. Now, some people did complain that he is a little skinny. I'll give him that. He is a little skinny, but I can't really complain about that because this figure does so much more good that there's no complaints. Now, of course, Spider-Man always has his classic web-slinging pose hand, and I've seen it done in the past where two fingers are articulated and move in, and then he's got like one fist and one web-slinging hand. But Hasbro, in their awesome infinite wisdom, decided, hey, why don't we give him alternate hands? Thank you, Hasbro. You made life so easy now. So you just give him a little pop and click, and now he's got a web-slinging hand. And another pop and click, and now he's got two. It doesn't break up the hand design. It doesn't look stupid. It looks natural. And you have a Spider-Man that can pose any way you want him to, within reason, because he doesn't have any web effects, but oh well. That works so well, I can't complain about anything else, really. Now, that being said, this is the figure that I was going to get, regardless if I decided to collect the wave. Because, well, there was reasons behind my decision to actually collect the entire wave. And, honestly, this figure is great. And that pose looks really dumb from angles. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what happens when I get excited about things. I don't think about balance and gravity and all that crap. Anyways, Spider-Man is great. He can pull off the craziest of craziest spider-like poses. He can do the craziest of craziest action figure poses. This is a great, great figure. And I can highly recommend it to anyone that wants a good 6-inch Spider-Man action figure. Because this is it. I've not seen something that can do as much as this figure can. A lot of them look better overall with proportions and such, but this one can do the most and has the biggest bang for your buck in terms of, that was a fly that just flew through here, what the... Anyways, Spider-Man is great, and I can not recommend him any higher than I've already recommended him in this video. And being the most common is great because more people can own this figure. Overall, I'm super impressed with the Spider-Man figure, and I have minor QC issues, but other than that, I can't really complain about anything. Also, he includes the right arm of the Green Goblin, so that's a nice bonus. yeah, for once the Build-A-Figure is not the main drive to buy this figure. This is a great figure on its own. I would highly recommend it. So anyways, stay tuned as tomorrow we take a look at, well, possibly one of the hardest to find figures in the wave. And we'll see how the Skyline Siren takes the stage. Anyways, Tonks is out saying, be sure to check out HeroTalkie.com for all your Marvel news and more, and goodbye.